Good evening, and welcome to a special edition of Positional Sports Talk Show Post. Tonight, we're coming back to you in our boxing mid-year review. This evening, I am joined by my partner in crime, Professor J. What's going on, Professor?
What's going on, Big Reg? What's up, Queensbury Tony, man? I'm ready to get this in. I got my pen and my pad. I'm with some right here. So I'm gonna give you something, but I know I'm gonna learn a lot from these guys today. So let's go, y'all. Let's go. Praise the Lord.
And without further ado, back in the building this time.
Yeah.
My man, Queensbury Tony, what's going on, brother? Good to see you live and in person.
Absolutely.
Oh, my goodness. I can't, man.
I'm so happy to be here. In person this time.
So you can catch us on our Positional Sports Talk Show channel. Of course, we live streaming on Facebook Live, Twitch. And if you can't catch it live, please tell your friends, social media contacts that they can catch us on podcasts, because we out there. All you got to do is look up Positional Sports Talk Show. So, of course, I'm Big Reg, and I'm always glad to come to you. And I'm so happy and excited about boxing. I know a lot of people think I'm the MMA fan, and especially UFC guy, but my true heart and passion is with the sweet science. So this evening, we've got to start off by talking about the state of boxing. We did it in our year-end review show, and we got to hit it again. Talk about some of the top fights of 2021 that we've already seen, and then the matchups we look forward to, and some matchups we hope to see by the end of 2021. So, of always, sit back, relax, and enjoy Post Boxing Special Edition. What's up, sis? Glad you're joining us. All right, so we got to get into this. What is the state of boxing as you see it right now? When we talked about it last December, we mainly focused on how it looked like the boxing world had fragmented into basically three main networks.
Yes, that's a big problem.
ESPN, primarily with Top Rank.
Mm-hmm.
Then you had the PBC, who's aligned with Showtime and Fox.
Mm-hmm.
And then we had kind of the new player in the arena, Dan's in the Zone. And they're got their boy De La Hoya and Golden Boy, but they also had Matchroom Boxing.
Mm-hmm.
And for a lot of non-European fight fans, Matchroom Boxing puts on some of the best boxing matches outside the U.S. around the world. So that's where we were. But some other things have kind of popped up.
Yeah.
First and foremost, again, the UFC effect. I kind of liken it to the Tom Brady effect in the NFL, how some of these quarterbacks done flipped out. I think boxing has been ignoring UFC, but what Dana White did with the UFC during the pandemic, putting on major shows while everybody else was trying to figure out how to even do anything.
Right, yeah.
He really took a step forward in pushing UFC and not only competing, but possibly moving past boxing in a worldwide view. So what do y'all think about the UFC's effects on boxing? And then we'll get into the other things that popped up lately.
Well, they have been able to, because they basically are just one thing. We talked about all these different promoters, right, in boxing.
Right.
So very segmented, very fragmented. So because they control so many fighters, they're able to put on just a volume. They have eclipsed boxing by sheer volume of I don't even know what number. Every time they're coming out with some new.
Yeah, they're in the 260s now. That's for the UFC main events, right?
It's crazy. So yeah, they have with sheer volume put out so much content, and the internet is all about content. Good quality is secondary. That's the secondary to just a volume of content. So
I agree.
So I wouldn't say that that these fights that we're seeing, and these fighters that we're seeing are all great fighters, but because there are so many of them, and then actually what happens in the fights too,
right?
How people are getting knocked out and things like that. People love the action, especially the armchair or what I call the pay-per-view fan. Those guys just love to watch action, you know. So that's plays secondary to skill and notoriety and so on. So yeah, sheer volume. That's the effect they have is content. They have way more content than boxing, way more.
What do you think, Professor?
Oh yeah, you know I'm gonna pop off here because if you know, but Big Red, you know, early on through the pandemic, when we talked about what sports would survive, what sports would come back, you know, before the others, UFC was at the top of the list because Dana White, as a businessman, knew that by going over to Dubai and other places around the world, maybe he had the Fight Island plan and all of that, he was putting together a blueprint to say, hey, all the other sports might be stopping. Boxing might be underneath us right now, but we're gonna come in with a plan that's gonna not only put our fighters in the ring, but we're gonna snatch that pay-per-view money, we're gonna snatch the headlines. And just like Queensberry said, that volume that he was putting together, he was like, we're not gonna stop. And I know we laughed about it, but I'm like, Dana White is about that money. He gonna make sure that he gonna get his fights. Oh, you got COVID? Okay, let's slide somebody on in here because we're gonna get this main card, we're gonna get this money. And then now that everything is pseudo back and you got stadiums filled with people in there, he's making that money again hand over fist. As far as boxing is concerned, I mean, we talked about this before on the regular show. I mean, you're getting the fights that people actually want to see. There's not all this, we ain't doing this, we ain't doing it, the money ain't right, I don't want to fight you here, your promoter get on my nerves, all that kind of stuff. He's saying, look, I'm Dana, I'm running this. You two are the two fights that everybody want to see. Let's get it together, let's get it right. Boom, and the fights happen. These are the things that as fans we want to see. I don't want to hear nothing about y'all can't get the money right or y'all can't get the split right or how you want to do it. You don't like my wife, you know, my man funny. Like all these things just get on my nerves. And then I also mentioned this too, that I'm done. I mentioned that Dana White has a little bit of that WWE effect where they putting together some of the storylines that get fans hyped behind the fighters that are bringing it to the ring. So
you said it though, it's story, Professor J.
Right. Oh man, you put that together, woo! You got a nice product.
I mean, that's the whole Conor McGregor effect.
Right.
You had a good fighter with a huge story.
Right.
That made him a mega star.
Yes.
And boxing has stopped doing that, building stars for the most part.
Right.
Because everybody's siloed.
That is, Big Reg. Why did they stop building their stars like was back in the day?
I don't think it's that boxing did. I think it was the personalities of the boxers themselves. Okay. So we've gotten into this PC generation where fighters used to come up to you and like remember Mr. T, what he did to Rocky in part 2. They don't do that anymore. Right. You know? That doesn't happen anymore. You know, they don't even want to mention the next fight that they want to have after they win a fight. You know, so I don't know what that's and the gift of gab that fighters like Ali used to have that either turns you off or turns you on,
but makes you want to tune in.
Makes you want to tune in. The fighters don't have that no more.
And the ones that do tend to get vilified. So a lot of these fighters don't want to be the villains. They don't want to be the Money Mayweathers anymore. Mm-hmm. But people don't realize Floyd did that strategically.
Yes.
That wasn't him. It's actually not him. That's an act.
It's an act.
But he did that to make money. Because before that, he was pretty boy
Floyd. Knocking people out.
But then you have the other end of the idiots, our boy Adrian Broner, and it's like, I don't want to put in that category either. So a lot of these new up-and-coming stars are trying to be more mild, meek, and just let my boxing do the talk. But you know what the problem of that is? Letting your boxing do the talking doesn't promote you enough so that you can build these big pay-per-view
big yep.
fights.
Yep, and you need that story. So, like Andre Ward, that's a perfect example. One of the best fighters ever.
Period.
Gold medalist, undefeated, champion in multiple weight classes, relegated to being an announcer.
Right.
And now, I mean, but he could have been, he should have been
one of the biggest stars in boxing.
One of the biggest stars in boxing.
Absolutely.
But again, his story, he didn't have that gift of gab, that way. He was always the good guy. I mean, they don't want to see fighters like that, especially fighters of color. I'm gonna just put it out there too.
And if they want to make one of us big stars, I use Tank.
Mm-hmm.
Tank is the biggest pay-per-view man out there besides Canelo right now. But it's because of Tank's knockout ability, but also Tank's background. Because they can get behind the guy from the ghetto who was out on the street and look at his hard luck story. Because, of course, they think, here's another Mike Tyson get ready to happen. He's going to explode and end up broke.
That was one of his nicknames, Mini Mike.
So if you're not either that or over the top, you just get lost.
That's right. Wow.
I mean, look at possibly the best pound per pound fighter right now in boxing who can't hardly get a boxing match. Who's at 147, one of the toughest divisions. But Terrence Crawford is one of the baddest men in boxing, but because he talks low key, he doesn't promote himself. He just wants to fight and make money and go back to Omaha.
Right.
People forget about him. But we got a little off on the sidetrack. Let's get on to some of the other things that have hurt boxing, in my view. Late last year, we got the old timers popping up.
Oh, yeah.
Thanks to new platforms like Triller, you get the Mike Tysons and Evander Holyfields, Oscar De La Hoya getting ready to fight again. They done found out Mike Tyson made $15 million at 55 years old. Oh, I want a piece of that money. What? Roy Jones made almost $10 million for an exhibition?
And the rules are different. It's not boxing.
Yeah, it's an exhibition.
It's an exhibition. The rules are different. Floyd Mayweather probably started it a little bit with the McGregor exhibition. I mean, I guess that was a fight, but we can call that a fight, but it was really an exhibition. Just these. So people are taking that. They want to see, especially Mike Tyson is so much around him. They want to see him, Mike Tyson of old and all of that. But these fights are really hurting boxing. They are hurting boxing. I refuse to watch them, by the way. I have not watched these fights.
I know y'all try to stay pure, right? And I get that. But I got to ask this, because I think he's still asleep. Did somebody tell Nate Robinson that these things are supposed to be like exhibitions or whatever? Because he got knocked out. And then I know you're going to get to it, but part of the problem is that you got YouTube sensations jumping into the ring now, and they make money than some of the pure boxers out there. So that's part of the problem right there, Big Reg.
Yeah, the Paul brothers have totally turned boxing upside down, because you've got these novice, you can't even call them professionals. They are novice boxers. Now, we'll give it to them. They actually built 2 gyms, and they actually train 4 to 6 days a week in boxing. And they've been doing this for 2 or 3 years.
It's not boxing.
I understand that. But what they realize is they can monetize their social media.
That's fine.
Which they've already done, and do something that they have a passion of and put it out on pay-per-view and make tens of millions of dollars.
It's hurting boxing. Boxers, when they retire, they would retire. You'd hear about them. They do announcing or stuff like that. That has gone away. Now we have and Floyd Mayweather, to his credit, that's what he makes a lot of money doing it, but it's hurting boxing. I really do believe that.
Or is it going to force boxing, at least the big promoters in boxing, to change their method of doing business? Because the old method of, I'm going to bring along a boxer slowly, build them up, give them a lot of easy touches for the first 10, 15 fights before we start stepping up the competition, and not pay this guy for 3 or 4 years. They'd be lucky if they make $40,000, $50,000 a year doing that, while they making the promoter a lot of money because they're going to be on Showbox and be on ESPN, the new up and comers. When they're looking at this guy who ain't got half of the boxing ability they have, that's making $10 million putting on his own fights.
Because of the story. The Paul brothers didn't come out of a vacuum. They had the following.
Oh, I agree.
They started as children. They started as children. I don't think it's the promoters that might change. I think the fighters might change and realize that not only do they have to train, but they have to do more than that. They have to build a following. You'll see more and more fighters not just have an Instagram page or a YouTube, but they'll actually engage with it and build their own following, like Ryan Garcia.
Yeah. He's probably the
closest thing to what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I hear you.
So more and more Ryan Garcias are going to come out. Good looking cats in shape coming up, doing things that aren't boxing things, but actually attract a lot of attention. I think we're going to see more and more of that, and with that should help build back up some of the personalities in boxing, because everyone wants to see Ryan Garcia fight people. But who really, realistically, I mean, he's in my mind, he's not really in the top.
Yeah, because they've been building him up slowly with a lot of soft touches and all that. But it's interesting. It's interesting to me. Devin Haney is the closest person that I've seen in the current boxing realm that has been outside of the norm, building his own thing. When Devin Haney turned pro, he started Devin Haney Promotions.
Right.
He started self-promoting them. That's why if you're not a diehard boxing fan, a lot of people don't even know who Devin Haney is. He's one of the brightest young stars out there. Undefeated. At 135.
Champion, WBO.
But now he's in a situation where the other titleists are lined up with either Top Rank or PBC. So he's having a hard time now making fights.
That's again par for the course. Is these first of all, he's too good. so Floyd has changed the game. Floyd Mayweather's changed the game and giving a lot of value to the O in your record. So when you're undefeated and you're coming to a fight, that means a whole lot. A lot of cachet, brings a lot of money. And a lot of guys aren't willing to give that, take a chance on losing that.
They need to get more into the UFC thing and go back and look at history. Look at the Leonard Hearns Haglers. Look at the trilogies, the Ali Foremans, Ali Fraziers, where they fought each other.
Yes.
And even if you lose, you fight again. You got rematches and trilogies that everybody makes more money.
I agree with you.
And builds things up instead of worrying about trying to hold on to this mythical.
We don't have this aggressive personality. Like I want to fight you. I want to eat your children. That stuff don't happen anymore, man. You know. I mean, where's that testosterone in these guys to say, you know what, I want to jump in the ring and tell this guy off? I mean, a B-Hop had to tell what's the junior the middleweight champion. He had to tell him to go after Canelo because that's the only way to force Canelo to fight you. You have to make him mad at you. Why does he have to be told that?
Right.
because most of
Demetrius
Andre, yeah, because most of them are into, I'm gonna let my management worry about booking fights. That's and all ridiculous.
That. And they can't do it all.
They've stopped controlling their own destinies.
The fights we want, because the UFC is doing that, and it's an absence of that in boxing. So as a fan, it's not getting me hyped if you like, yeah, I'm gonna take the next bout that they get together. I mean, I'm just, I'm here to fight whoever. Instead of coming to the mic, like you said, Queensberry, and say, look, I'm calling you out. I'm calling you out. Anybody that wants something, you can come get it. I mean, we just don't have that in boxing anymore. No.
One thing I got to give boxing a little credit before we move on to the next segment. I have noticed Top Rank and PBC have started at the lower ranges, not the champions yet. But in these fight cards, you used to see on a fight card, you'd have a title fight that may be a good fight, and then the undercards, most of them were trash.
Right.
Now you're starting to see undercards that are fairly well matched. And
you want to see the whole card this time. You don't want to just wait for the final.
Too.
And these up and comers, they making them fight some real tough competition, and quite often they're losing.
Yeah.
So hopefully that'll come with the champion soon. And Matchroom seems to be the organization is trying to facilitate a lot of that. They work with Top Rank to put on boxing matches. Right. They've working with PBC to put on boxing matches, because the Top Rank and PBC issue is way up top. But they were able to get together and do the heavyweight fight. Get ready to be a third time. So if they can do that,
talk about that.
So, so let's talk. Let's go ahead.
Now, and how about a quick mention of the fact that you're starting to see boxing analysts and savants transitioning over to covering UFC fights now as well.
Yeah, really?
That's starting to happen a lot too.
Yeah.
Like who?
Teddy
Atlas.
Oh my God.
Max Kellerman. I mean, ESPN.
Max Kellerman is covering UFC fights.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't watch you guys. You can tell.
Yeah. ESPN has realized, obviously, ESPN has the UFC under contract, but ESPN has seen that shift. So they're trying to have
that's what it's about.
Their combat sports people be able to talk about both sides.
Yeah.
So,
but they really don't have any. They don't have any experience talking about that stuff. I mean, how do you find their commentating?
Stephen A. was very good. I mean, but
Stephen A. he's not. Yeah,
he's not even a boxer or UFC commentator. Exactly. He's just a personality that makes a lot of money, so they put him on anything. I will give Max some credit. Max does his homework.
Okay.
So he is definitely more into what's going on in the UFC, and he knows about the top fighters in the UFC.
It's not hard, because that's my problem with the UFC. Where do they find these guys?
Dana finds them all around the world, literally.
Yeah, but it's not, when I talk about a boxer like Floyd Mayweather, I see pictures of him wearing gloves at 2 or 3 years old. These guys have been, Floyd Mayweather is a guy who's been fighting for 40 years.
Dana White has people scouring the world.
Isn't the top heavyweight guy? Didn't he just come to the UFC like a couple of years ago? The top heavyweight guy.
The current champion came to UFC about 4 or 5 years.
4 or 5 years ago. I mean, that's all it takes to be champ.
But no, that's heavyweight though.
I understand that, but I'm just saying. I understand you could come to heavyweight late and be a dominant fighter. I mean, Wilder came to it in his teenage years. There's a lot of fighters. Even Anthony Joshua came to it in his teenage years. But you can't be a top heavyweight fight and come to it. You can't be champion and only been in it 5 years. That's not happening. It hasn't happened yet. I'm gonna just say it that.
Yes, unless you got a hell of a punch that's one hit and quitter, and you can avoid being hit first.
No, there is no one. You're talking about something that had not happened.
I feel you. I think, but what you are having
well into his 30s.
What you are having happen, and then these are coming from people who have been in the amateurs for years. You are starting to get amateurs that within 4 to 5 fights are fighting for titles, which is something that never happened before.
Well,
and these are
that's true.
Foreigners that were in the amateur system for years and years and years.
Oh, well, what's the gentleman that just lost to Teofimo Lopez? I mean, Lomachenko. Yeah, that's what you're talking about. That guy.
But there's been a couple of them though recently. So that's where it's going. So let's talk about
even after losing his first pro fight, he was still fighting for championship. Under 10 fights, which is very unheard of. Absolutely.
So to start off 2021, looked like 2021 was going to be a suspect year in boxing.
Suspect.
Yeah, maybe. But we actually had some good fights and had some people step up. January, the biggest boxing match in January was Stevie, the Schoolboy Fulton. He beat Angelo Leo to win his first world championship. He won the WBO super bantamweight title.
Cool boy stuff.
That was a very good fight for him. Then you had the Battle of the Calebs. I enjoyed that fight.
Yeah.
Saw that. Caleb Plant has awesome hands. They call him sweet hands. My challenge with him is defense.
Yeah.
He was getting touched by Truax. If he was getting hit like that against Canelo, forget about it. He caught him with some overhand rights. He caught him with some really good shots that he walked through because it was Truax. But if he don't get his defense right against, and he had a beautiful shovel jab in that fight.
Yeah,
he was just touching Truax all night. He won every round.
Yeah,
by the way.
Yeah,
every round. The dominating performance.
I mean, by Caleb. He's outboxed everybody I've seen him fight.
Yeah. Very fast hands.
So it'll be.
It's a defense problem. He needs to turn from pretty boy to money. He's got a defense problem. Yep.
February jumped off, and we had one of our biggest upsets so far of the year. Actually, had two big upsets in February. Started off early in February where Mauricio Lara beat Josh Warrington.
Ain't nobody even know who Lara is.
Exactly.
And he come in there and I mean a word
in London.
In London, you know, this is during COVID, so he lost. That crowd is huge. That stage to fight in front of those people is a big part of boxing, and without that, I'm sure it's like the 12th man in football. Without that, I think that hurt Warrington that he didn't have his country behind him, and Lara just walked through every shot Warrington threw, and Warrington looked like he was maybe 2 weight classes smaller than him. He should again, another guy who should be worrying about his defense and just touching him. He would have won that fight. But he tried to punch with a puncher and got caught. Knocked down, I think it was in the middle rounds, and then eventually just TKO.
Then we had somebody that we just learned about this past weekend, but when this happened in February, few people paid it any attention. Where you had Brian Castellano beat Patrick Teixeira to win the WBO superweight title. That was on, I believe it was on DAZN. Most people never even saw that, but it was like, nobody paid attention. We'll talk about Saturday's fight in a minute because we paying attention now.
Yeah.
But the other major upset, Oscar Valdez beat the boogeyman of super featherweight, Miguel Berchelt. This was the guy that everybody was scared to fight, who was literally destroying everybody in that weight class.
Berchelt to win that fight. Yeah.
Valdez not only outboxed him, he knocked out the boogeyman.
He sure did. Walked right through him.
So, I mean, February was a good month. And then, of course, Canelo went on his drive to become a unified champion. And the fight was nothing. That was an overmatched fight, but Canelo was able to get his second WBC superweight title, and we're gonna talk about him again.
He just waits around until like nobody's get the titles, and then he come in. I want to fight him. Oh, who got the title? I want to fight him. Yeah, that's what he do. That's what he's been doing, and somebody got to call him out.
Yeah,
like Andrade.
But see, he's saying I'm fighting at 168. I'm not fighting at 160 right now.
Right. Not
That's
right now.
Going on. He said, "Let me go ahead and unify all these. Then we'll worry about it."
But don't want to fight the best at 168. David Benavidez.
Part of that is Benavidez's fault.
Why is that?
Well, one, the dude lost his belt twice.
He lost it on the belt because of COVID. COVID rules and regulations don't let you lose weight like you should.
The first time he lost the belt was because of drugs. Second time he lost the belt because he couldn't make weight. Everybody else on that card made weight. He didn't make weight.
He didn't make the weight, and he lost his belt. And look, that's still everyone knows that David Benavidez is the best fighter at 168. Everybody knows this. It doesn't matter, and no one wants to see any other fight.
Well,
nobody wants to see Avni Yildirim.
I hear you.
No more Avni Yildirim, please.
I do want to see Canelo get 3 hands. I think that'd be a very interesting matchup. But that's one of my previews. But Benavidez will be at the end. He'll be there to fight whoever's still standing. Let's go into March, and we got to give a shout out. We did this on our regular show. March 5th, Clarissa Shields did something. She tried to fight for a year, and none of the promoters would give her a bout because of COVID. They said it wasn't worth it. So she and her manager self-promoted their own pay-per-view. Put together the first ever all-female pay-per-view fight. The bouts weren't great.
Right.
But the fact that she took this step and made it happen.
Made a business move.
Made a major business move and ended up unifying another division. Mm-hmm. She is the only person, and I do mean person in boxing, that's the unified champion in 2 separate weight classes at the same time.
Honestly, I want to take the W off her name. She might be the greatest of all time.
I mean,
especially if she does what she's been doing in the UFC.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, crossing over.
If she continues that, and the way she came back too is incredible. If she continues that, I want to call her the greatest athlete, greatest of all time. Let's take the W off.
Speaking of your boy David Benavidez did fight in March. He got an 11th round TKO against Ronald Ellis. And I agree. Benavidez is a monster at 168. But until you get your personal life in control and you make the weight that you schedule to make consistently, you can't blame anybody else.
You want to talk about drugs? You gotta mention Canelo's name too. I mean, the cheating in boxing, we didn't even get into it. The cheating in boxing has been going on since the beginning, and there's 10 levels to it. There's 10 levels to it between the low blows, the punching after the bells, the lacing. That's what elbows. That's where they run the laces so they can get cut. Headbutting, IV usage. They removing the padding, and I mean it's just I just saw the
why
say what
did that the loaded gloves
of the plaster of Paris. Mm-hmm. That's been the what's this the fixing has been going on since forever. We've been fixing the eye burning. Ali listed.
Oh yeah, put something on
the gloves to burn your eyes out. And of course the creme de la creme of cheating, the doping. And the lack of like no one really, like, it just happens. Oh, they doped. Give them 6 months, which they were going to take anyway, off, and then they could fight again. There has to be something done.
So you don't believe Canelo got some bad meat in Mexico?
No, I do not. And I don't believe Tyson did either. And a lot of people, Tyson Fury, don't understand the reason they were fighting now they were trying to stage the biggest UK fight ever. Anthony Joshua, Tyson Fury, the biggest UK fight ever in history. And they were not going to put it in the United Kingdom. Do you know why? Because Tyson Fury is banned from fighting in his own country because of doping. And they don't want to talk about it. The old media don't want to talk about it. You don't hear nothing about it. UKAD, which is the United Kingdom Anti-Doping Commission, has banned this man from fighting because of investigations that he won't commit to fulfilling. And that's why they were going to hold the biggest fight in UK history in Saudi Arabia. Isn't that a shame?
Yeah.
And no one wants to talk about it.
But they were going to get $150 million guaranteed just to show up.
Who's that? Fury Joshua.
Oh, that had $150 million.
Fee. I get that. That's fine. But that's destroying. This is United Kingdom's two best.
I agree.
They have every right to.
That should be at Wimbledon.
Absolutely.
I agree.
It doesn't belong anywhere else. That's fine, $150 million. But for history's sake, it should have been in the United Kingdom, not in Saudi Arabia.
Speaking of United Kingdom, my man Jamel Herring put a beat down on United Kingdom's own Carl Frampton. Carl Frampton came up in weight class and it might have ended his career because that was
a mistake.
He took a brutal.
Kell Brook made the same mistake.
Yeah, and was never the same.
And never the same after that.
Never.
I don't understand why these guys don't learn their lesson.
Because they been boxing for peanuts for so long. When they get a chance to make a big payday, they go ahead and take the payday instead of worrying about long-term longevity.
A lot of these guys would benefit from my advice and learning a lot from Ryan Garcia, and developing their personality along with their boxing skills and building a following. They're going to get their money. Or working with somebody like Floyd Mayweather who knows how to build a story around you. Tank Davis is the biggest thing, one of the biggest things in boxing, mostly because of Floyd Mayweather's input.
I agree.
He knows how to produce a cat. That's how he does.
People who listen to Floyd go far in the business if they got the goods and they make money. Because Floyd knows it from the other side, even though he's a promoter and a manager now. But he's not robbing the guys.
Fighters. But he was also himself an undefeated fighter. So the last fight Tank had, he took Floyd's advice and knocked him out. He said, knock him out right now. He said, okay. And he went in there and knocked him out.
Because Floyd told him he was losing that fight.
Right.
So let's talk about some of the other cats that did some big things during the first couple of months. Shakur Stevenson moved up from 126 to 130.
Floyd would say, hell of a fighter.
His win over Jeremiah Nikatia for an interim super featherweight title was impressive, especially since that moving up to 130. There's some big fights at 130 that he can make.
Yeah.
I'm
excited to see that, if that can make that. Again, like Professor J said, I'm sick of it too, Professor J. That's just how the thing was structured. But if Shakur Stevenson, who to me is I would say one or two best fighter in boxing right now, in my opinion, my humble opinion, he should be able to fight some of these guys to prove it.
We got to talk about the monster, Inoue. I mean, this little dude, you talk about, if you want to see somebody that's fighting at 122 pounds that looks like a killer. I mean, usually at those weights, you see a lot of punches thrown.
Right.
This guy is a tactician and a killer. I mean, third round knockout. And the only person that he had a tough fight against is an old guy that's still doing it, Nonito Donaire.
Yeah.
Who came out, got a fourth round KO won a WBC bantamweight title this year.
Yes, he did.
After when everybody thought he was done.
Yep. They didn't expect him to win that one.
So now he's Donaire is supposed to be fighting. I believe they're trying to put it together for September to unify another belt. He's got the WBC.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think they're trying to, I think the IBF is still out there. And then possibly at the end of this year, we might get Donaire against the Monster too, to unify all the belts.
That's what they were talking about after that, after his tremendous victory for him to fight.
And both of them say they're in it.
Yeah, they're down to do it.
That's what I'm talking about, fighting. Let's do this. The best fight the best. And let's
hope
get it
other
done.
fighters take Donaire's example. That even though you lost a fight, like he lost a big fight,
he lost a couple of them,
and he didn't give up. He's only 35,
mm-hmm.
so he didn't give up, and look what he's doing at 35 years old. So it's not over just because you take an L, and you can come back and still have a tremendous career.
True that. Your boy Tank Davis went down to Atlanta. Sold out the stadium, pay-per-view,
great,
almost
fight.
1 million pay-per-views. Went up to 140. So he jumped. His last fight previous 130. So he jumped up 10 pounds to 140, fighting a guy that was like 6.5 inches taller, had an 8-inch reach advantage on him, and walked him down.
Yes, he did,
and stopped him.
Yes, he did. He stopped him right when, and like I mentioned earlier, like in the same round where Mayweather told him to stop him. I said, "You losing this fight, you need to take him out." He said, "Oh yeah," and he just went out there and did it. The man is a tremendous puncher, great boxer. But he has that pretty boy Floyd knockout power, and I definitely want to see him again and again. Fighting some of the best and see if Floyd's faith is justified.
Right.
But I think because he's able to move up like this, I don't think we'll see him against some of the best guys at 130 and 135. I don't see him fighting like Shakur at 130 or fighting what's my man at 135, who you just mentioned, Haney. That's so.
We will see. At 135, you had Lomachenko, make a return
fight. See, that's the second loss he took against Teofimo Lopez, and to come back and win this fight is a tremendous showing out for that gentleman.
And he fought the guy that gave Lopez his hardest fight, Nakatani. Nakatani is a tough fighter, and Lopez slowly walked him down. I didn't like the way after the fight, before and after the fight, how he was crying the whole time that he hurt his shoulder before the Lopez fight. But because they were scared that they didn't want to miss all the money for this fight, that he went on and fought, but he couldn't really punch with his left hand.
Then explain to me why the second half of that fight he was doing very, very well.
Yeah, his explanation is finally he said, "Forget it. If I'm going to hurt it some more, I'm going to hurt it some more and just let it go. If you get in the ring,
you better fight.
And you say you get in the ring, you're healthy enough to fight, or don't get in the ring. Don't give me that." Because that's the same thing Manny said.
I was just thinking that. Manny Pacquiao said the same thing about
exact same thing.
And it was the shoulder too.
So stop it. Yeah. Too many fights we've seen and canceled the week of the fight because the fight is injured.
Injury and
come on, stop
sparring or some not such nonsense. Absolutely.
And
I'm
then
sick of it.
Two of my favorite fighters out there, the Charlo brothers.
Yes.
First, Jamal fought last month.
Good stop.
And Jamal had his toughest fight ever. I mean, he hit this dude with everything he could hit him with and could not stop him. and he took more punishment than he's ever taken. I thought I wanted to see Jamal get a shot at Canelo, but after watching that fight,
I want to see it still. Canelo might take that fight now that he saw him having so much trouble. That's how Canelo is. He'll wait until you start having trouble against somebody, and then he said, "Okay, I'll fight you now."
I think I'd rather see
that's how Canelo
Jamal Charlo against Andre and go ahead and unify those belts.
That should have happened a long time ago.
Because both of them, their last fights left something to be desired.
Andrade walked out of that fight, that opportunity, which was a mistake.
Yeah. And then we got Jamel.
Andrade.
Let's talk about Jamel's fight on Saturday.
That was my anniversary. I didn't see the fight, but I saw the highlights.
Okay. That's fair enough. I was out of town also at a wedding, so I didn't see the fight live, but I DVR'd it, and I watched it round for round today.
Okay, you prepared.
Round for round, because the first thing I saw after the fight, and the fight was a split decision draw. Professor J tweeted out, "Oh, there's controversy on the card." So I'm like, okay. So you know how we do.
Yeah.
When we think there's a close fight, we tend to watch the fight and turn the sound down.
You got to.
So you're not biased
Mm-hmm.
by what the commentators are saying. Because commentators have their own personal bias, whether it's for a belt holder or a belt organization that they try to push. So I watched that round for round. Before I get into mine, Professor, what'd you think of the fight? Because I know you saw the fight. Who do you think won that fight? Or was the draw the right decision?
No, Castano won the fight, and
wow,
the draw was not a fair decision. Definitely, they should run it back if they get an opportunity. I think at best, it would be a 7-5, but still, Castano won that fight. I mean, most people had it kind of close the way that was, but I think that he was the more aggressive fighter. I'm talking about Castano. I think he was the more the tactician in the fight. Now, Charlo came on late in the fight because he knew he was losing. He had to put together an effort in the later rounds to try to win the fight. But I think he got controlled that entire fight. He did not expect Castano to bring the fight to him like he did, and he got outboxed and outmatched. And no, like the first 9 rounds. I know he had a nice flurry in round 2. He had Castano stopped, all that stuff. Even Castano said he got hurt in round 2. But he commanded the fight all the way up until like rounds 9 and 10 when Charlo was desperate and he was wailing on him. He was punishing him. But those are the rounds that I gave him along with round 2. But I think the rest of the fight, I think, was in the hands of Castano, man. That's my simple opinion.
Perfect example of boxing is in the eye of the beholder. You're saying that Castano controlled the position of the fight.
Round 1, 3.
I think Charlo was trying to counter box him and just gave up that position.
Right.
Not that Castano was pressuring him. He just did it because he was trying to make him swing first so he could counter.
The difference.
But did that work in his favor, though?
No, listen. It's the difference between aggression and effective aggression. The scoring is
argue about this all the time.
On aggression. Yeah, so you got like fighters that just want to just throw a lot of punches. That's aggression, but is it effective? Was he landing?
Because if you watch that fight again, when Castano, because Charlo was backing up to the ropes or to the corner by himself.
Okay.
He was getting on the back foot. He jabbed, get on the back foot, and then take a step back. Before you know, he was up against the ropes. And his corner kept telling him, stay off the ropes. You're giving this guy rounds because you're making the perception seem like he's pushing you to the ropes when you're the one doing it. But a lot of times when he's throwing the punches, he landed some punches, but also Charlo boxed some of them and dipped. But that's the Manny Pacquiao effect of fighting.
Yes.
I'll just throw a lot of punches at you while you're looking like this, and it'll seem like all of them are landing, and all of them don't land.
Mm-hmm.
But I can respect your point of view. And Charlo did that to himself. I went round for round. Charlo gave him the first round because he didn't throw enough punches and he backed up into the ropes. Mm-hmm. Second round, he hurt him. So that's a Charlo round.
Well, it was a 10-9 round.
Yeah, he didn't drop him.
Okay, but
he hurt him. But it could be a 10-8.
It could be a 10-8 round, even if you don't.
But I didn't give him a 10-9.
Okay, 10-9. Okay.
I gave Cassiano the third round.
Mm-hmm.
He landed the best punch, but that was still a close round. I gave him the fourth round because in the fourth round, he was actually pressuring Charlo, and he was effective with his pressure.
Good.
Fifth round, I actually gave to Charlo because Charlo, I thought, controlled most of that round with his jab. Now, at the end of the round, he backed up into the ropes again and let Castano throw some things. So I did mark it that it was close. So you could have maybe figured that either way. Sixth round was a flat-out draw to me.
Okay.
Both had good moments, but neither one was dominant.
9-9.
Seventh round, I gave to Castano, but also said that one was close. So both of them have a close round in my book, and I got the sixth round as a draw. So that fifth, sixth, and seventh, depending on your angle that you're looking at and what you prefer, you could make those go either way. Eighth round, I gave to Castano. So Castano's got a lead. And Charlo's corner said, dude, you're losing.
Yeah.
You're losing this fight. You got to change things. I gave Charlo 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th round. There's no argument about the 10th, 11th, and 12th. Charlo easily beat the last 3 rounds. And I also gave him the 9th round. So
Charlo,
I had it 6-5 with a draw. Charlo.
That's close.
But I can see how
scores. What were the actual scores?
One score was absurd. Yeah. One scorecard had 117, 111 Charlo. There was no way in hell you could watch that fight.
But you said 3 rounds were like,
and even Charlo said he didn't understand that.
Wow, that's crazy. Oh, yeah, it's hard to score your own fight. Go ahead.
That was definitely biased.
And then the other two?
The other two,
114, 114.
One was 114, 113 for Castaño.
And the other one was a draw.
Okay.
All right.
So I was cool with the draw because I think both of them did enough where you could say, yeah, I won that fight. Because Castano was coming forward most of the time. And that's what people think. Because the fighter was coming forward, then they're aggressive. Yeah. Only if it's effective. And some of the time it wasn't effective. But it was a good fight. Was he
cutting off the ring or was he just following them around?
He was just following.
Yeah.
So yeah,
see, that's what I'm saying.
Charlo was allowing
it. You got to watch him in the fight. Professor J was following the guy. Is he cutting off the ring? Is he putting him where he needs him so he can land a clean, effective punching? So it's clean, effective punching, effective aggression, and ring generalship. Those are the 3 criteria for scoring.
But what should Charlo do differently?
Charlo could have jabbed the man to death and won that fight easy.
Well, he already showed you what he did. 8, 10, 11, and 12. I didn't even see the fight.
When he stayed, it was basically 2 fights. If Charlo stayed near the middle of the ring or circled around him when he touched the ropes, easy fight.
Yeah. But that's what
when
makes
he got against the ropes.
Why didn't he start out like that?
His corner told him to do it.
Tell him what to do, but he wouldn't listen.
But sometimes boxers get in their mind, I can catch this guy.
Some people will.
So I want him to throw it. So I want him to feel comfortable, and they don't listen to what his trainer is telling him. His trainer told him the whole fight, dude, stop giving him rounds. Hit him with that stick, and then when he gets tired of that, then you can come back with the hook or double left, and you make the fight easy. Stop making the fight hard. But
he's hard at it.
So there's got to be a part 2. But as you said earlier, Professor, at the end of the fight, they asked him what he should do. Oh, I'm going to leave it up to Al Heyman.
That's what I'm saying.
That right there.
Talking about. Leave it up to Al Heyman. Al Heyman should be like, stop saying my name. Stop saying my name. You better go in there and tell these people what you want. because you ain't getting what you say, what you leaving up to me.
I mean,
he already got the one loss, Tony. That he came back and
yeah. And me and you went back and forth about that. I thought he won that fight, but again, the exact reason why
he almost lost the rematch if it wasn't for the knockout.
Yeah, the exact reason why he lost that fight was almost the reason why he lost this fight. He allowed him to come forward, make him look like he was defensive when actually he was doing it himself and didn't throw enough.
Named those Charlo brothers top fighters, and they are great fighters, but they're not superstars.
They haven't advanced.
Nope.
Their boxing.
Nope.
I don't know if it's maybe IQ,
right? It is IQ,
or their performance hasn't changed. They're still doing the same things, and their talent can get them out of most situations.
Saying they're unintelligent. I'm just saying their boxing intelligence isn't there.
But yeah, if they want to be the creme de la creme and pay-per-view kings like they say they want to be, they need to step it up.
Yeah, they do.
But they live in the highlight. Both of them bought ranches down there in Houston. They
getting comfortable.
Jamal built a 20,000 square foot boxing / entertainment center in his backyard.
In his backyard, yeah.
So he can walk out of his house, walk around the pool, and go into his boxing gym.
That's a little too close to home.
Yeah, does that make you lose that edge though?
Yeah, when you get real mad being up in Big Bear for 6 weeks. What do you know what I'm saying? Up in the mountains, away from your family and your woman. Yeah. You gonna wanna win a fight. But you going outside your house, back in the backyard, talking about I'm suffering, and this is a suffering sport. You grow through suffering.
Exactly. When again,
watch a Rocky movie and you'll understand.
When you're waking up on silk sheets and you're walking around.
Rocky ain't had no silk.
Walking around in an 8,000 square foot home with your cars all out front. It's kind of hard to keep that mentality.
The second he had silk, he lost to Mr. T.
So let's talk about some of the fights that we may be looking forward to. Or let me ask you if you're looking forward to. What do y'all think about the Pacquiao Spence August 21st pay-per-view? Worth your time?
I'm not going to pay for it. That's jazz. I'll watch it because it's boxing. But I really hope and go. I'm sorry. And there's been no. I haven't found anything credible to base my beliefs on. But I really hope that they are using VADA testing for this fight. I just hope that they use VADA testing for this fight. I have nothing to back up my beliefs about it. But this guy is 40-something years old. Was he 42? And Spence is a much younger man. And for him to perform the way he did against Keith Thurman at these ages, something's afoot. Something ain't stirring the Kool-Aid. I hope they do VADA testing. This is the reason why Floyd Mayweather had a hard time trying to pin Manny Pacquiao down. It wasn't about money. It was about his willingness to agree to VADA testing.
I hear you.
And I hope Spence doesn't fall for the banana in the tailpipe like Keith Thurman did. Oh, I don't care if he's doing it. I'm good. I'm Keith Thurman. Round one.
You want to see Pacquiao Spence, Professor?
Yeah, I'm leaning more towards Queensberry. Yeah, I want to see it, but as far as pay-per-view money, like if it was on Showtime or something like that, I'm already putting on my regular money for my cable bill, that would be fine. I think for Spence, I mean, we expect him to dominate, but I feel like, what about the doping angle? See, that's the thing that turns a fan off, a fan like me off the boxing, because you're looking at this product and you saying, am I getting exactly what I think I should get from these fighters? This dude, I mean, Manny Pacquiao kind of irritates me at this point. To me, he's fighting too long, just like Julio Cesar Chavez did. And I kind of don't want to see
7 losses
on his
7 losses.
Right. I don't want to see him go out on his shield like that. But if Spencer's the guy that needs to do it, then I mean, I'd be willing to watch it. But you know, if we put something together and we divvy up what we paying for it, I'll come through something like that. But do I want to see it? I mean, yeah, I want to see it because
I want to see it. Yeah, it's boxing. I want to see it.
Right. The state of boxing right now, I want to see anything that gets me at least a little bit excited because I mean, I'm right now I'm just irritated with Wilder
2021. Yeah, we ain't even get on it. I don't know if you have time.
Yeah, Benavidez against Jose Uzcategui. That's going to be an interesting fight. That's August 28th. That's going to be on Showtime.
I like seeing David Benavidez. He's a monster.
When Benavidez is in his right mind and is actually training hard for a fight, I agree with you. He's dominant 168. But that's not going to be an easy fight.
Really?
That's a good matchup.
What do you know about the other guy?
Uzcategui, he's going up to 168. He was at 160.
Okay.
He's fought for the belt a couple of times at 160. And both of them were good, tough fights.
Competitive fights. Okay.
Yeah, so he's not going to be easy.
He's not an easy touch. Okay. I want to see it.
September 4th, my wife's birthday.
Mine.
I like this
guy. Our wife's birthday. That's right.
I like this guy.
You got Laura Warrington, too.
Oh, stop. No, please. I thought you was going to talk about Fulton.
Yeah. No, we're going to get to Steve.
Really? I just saw the highlights.
So you don't think Josh Warrington's got a chance of, I
mean, unless Laura comes in sleep. I mean, I really don't see it. The man walked right through his best shots. He's going to have to approach Laura the way that Anthony Joshua approached Andy Ruiz, and just outbox him. And that's the way to beat a guy like Laura, because he's too big, too strong for that guy.
I hear you. On that same card, and I just want to mention her because she's probably the second best female fighter in the world right now. Katie Taylor is a beast. She's fighting Jennifer Hahn for all of her titles. Katie Taylor is a lightweight, undisputed lightweight champion. She's a bad chick. She's from Great Britain.
I want to see that.
Bad chick. Then you got your boy Stevie Fulton against Brandon Figueroa. Now, this is about. They're going to unify. Each one's putting their title on the line. Also, September 4th, I'm going to have to figure out what I'm going to do. What we going to do, Professor? We got the wife's birthday, but we got.
You better put on the DVR.
Yeah, I think I'm stuck.
And turn off your news feed.
I mean, the only thing that I think is save us if it's something going on with COVID when we on lockdown.
You think your wife gonna let you get away with watching boxing on her birthday? And COVID make it even worse. Yeah, be creative at that point.
Yeah, that's gonna be. Yeah, I guess the DVR gonna be burning hard that night.
Turn off the news feed.
yeah, you can't be watching it. Watching the phone.
Turn off YouTube, all that.
Then later on, Stevie Fulton, Brandon Figueroa, September 11th, great fight, Showtime. You got Joshua against Usyk. This is a fight a lot of people talking about because this was the
good fight.
Usyk was the undisputed cruiserweight champion. He was a monster at cruiserweight before he moved up to heavyweight. We all know Joshua.
A little shaky.
He looked good
in his last fight, though. Oh, my God. Knocked that boy out in the 9th round.
Yeah.
He looked really good. Look like himself again.
But this is going to be a tough fight.
Oh, yeah.
And if he can get close to him and get him into a fight instead of just letting him jab himself to victory and then set up that big right hand.
I honestly, he must be doing it for to keep his title or something.
He's doing it to stay busy, and this is a mandatory. Yeah,
it's a mandatory.
So they can try to
because everybody wants to see who the fight after the Wilder Fury fight.
Right. And that's the next fight, October 9th. Unfortunately, we're supposed to see that in August. But of course, your boy Fury came down with COVID.
He did not have COVID. He does not have COVID. You heard it here. He has been seen on the Vegas Strip, renting luxury cars, coming in and out of stores, taking pictures. Who the hell takes pictures with a man who claims to have COVID? I ain't taking no pictures. I got the vaccination, and I ain't taking no pictures. You got COVID, stay away from me. And he was making plans to go back to Great Britain. Excuse me, how do you get on a plane when you have COVID? Who lets you in their country when you have COVID? He does not have COVID. Let's get it together, guys. And nobody from old media is talking about it. Nobody. They just said, "Oh, yes, COVID," and just let it go. But and don't realize the history of this man. He's did this twice. To Klitschko.
Yeah,
he's paused that. He's trying to do freeze the kicker. He's trying to freeze the kicker. So like, you know, just make him the wait, and hope by the time he gets around to fighting him that he can that he lost a step.
Or possibly frustrate him enough we say forget it so he can get back to the big money fight.
That's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
That man wants his head.
Yeah.
Wilder wants his head on his stick. Wilder is mad.
Speaking about fights that may or may not happen, the Teofimo Lopez George Kambosos Jr.
Another fake COVID.
Oh, you don't think Lopez had COVID?
Nope.
Supposedly he was sick.
I
heard that.
Well, maybe.
I heard supposedly he was actually sick.
Everybody got COVID after vaccine. Vaccine's been out a year. How long did that vaccine been out?
But how
I got the vaccine like a long time ago.
How many athletes still don't have the vaccine?
Why not?
Because a lot of them are saying they don't want to put anything they're unfamiliar with in their bodies.
That's why the NFL gonna have a problem coming.
NFL, NCAA, we got to talk about that tomorrow. There's a bunch of programs in college sports that are.
Kambosos ain't afraid of that guy.
Yeah, Kambosos was talking mad trash like he was going to knock his head off.
See,
he's over that guy.
But what's going on now is Lopez is beefing. Triller won the purse bid for this fight because Lopez was upset with Top Rank, what they were offering him to for his first title defense. He was like, I'm not fighting for that. They were offering him less $1 million. He was like, I'm not fighting for that.
He just made 1.5 with he should be going up, not down.
So Triller came in, won the purse bid. I think they bid like $3 million. And of that, Lopez gets like 65% of it. But now Triller's saying, okay, we're going to redo this fight. This fight was supposed to be in, I think, Florida originally. They want to take the fight to the Middle East.
Really?
Because they can get
more
a big site fee. Because they said they lost $10 million postponing this fight.
They would have lost more if they didn't postpone it. That fight was supposed to be the same weekend as some of these great fights you were just talking about. So Triller would have lost a lot more money if they kept that date. So it was actually a good thing for Triller that they got to postpone it. And I don't know why he'd be upset to go to Saudi Arabia. Why not? What's his problem with Saudi Arabia?
He's just saying this. He's saying, I'm the champion. I should be dictating where we're gonna fight.
Oh, stop it. He ain't no champion. he ain't undisputed. He called himself undisputed without all the belts. How you gonna be undisputed without with the green belt? Everybody know the green belt is the belt. Anybody care about them other belts? I don't even remember the initials. Everybody knows the green belt. Devin Haney has the green belt. He is the WBO champ, and you cannot call yourself a unified champ without that green belt. That fake French fries title, not franchise, French fries title that he got when he barely beat Lomachenko.
It only took us an hour, but we finally got a Queensberry Tony moment. So it's going to be interesting to see if that fight happens because they're beefing. And now all of a sudden, Lomachenko says he wants his rematch, and Teofimo Lopez Sr. saying that he can make his son fight that fight, and that's a pay-per-view fight. That's a big money fight. So
a rematch with Lomachenko, especially after he won that, how he won that.
So I can see this Kambosos fight evaporating.
Really?
Maybe give him $500,000 to just go away.
Aside.
Right. For the big fight later.
If I was Kambosos, I wouldn't step aside.
So
because it's his only opportunity to really get those titles.
Well, if he gets
a guaranteed fight against Lomachenko, the winner.
I mean, he would be the mandatory. I forget which sanctioning body it is, but he'd be a mandatory for one of them.
Another conversation Devin Haney gets left out of.
Yep, absolutely.
I'm sick of it.
Absolutely.
Devin Haney is the WBO green belt champ. Why aren't people trying to fight this? And in his last fight, he looked vulnerable. Did you see his Devin Haney? We didn't talk about it.
He looked vulnerable for one round.
1 second of one.
One round.
He got hit with a really good shot.
He got caught.
He had the noodle leg walking back to his corner. He got hit with a really good shot. He was smiling the whole time. Walked back to his corner and came back out and dominated the fight. I mean, the man does look. He's in the top 5 in my opinion. Top 5 fighters.
Other than that one punch, that was a whitewash of a fight.
Yes.
And that is the exact reason why Shakur Stevenson, like 3 weeks later, didn't go for the kill against his guy when he hurt him a couple of times, because he didn't want to put himself in that same position Devin Haney was, getting that little out over the skis and get caught and possibly lose your title.
I think that's what happened to Warrington. He thought he could come in there and blast the guy. Ain't nobody ever heard of him. He looked past him, and that didn't work. These guys need to understand that this is boxing. This is not MMA. You don't have to be doing all this. You can just win rounds and win the fight. I love boxing for the art of it. I don't need to see you knocking people out. That's exciting too. Don't get me wrong. I'm a fisherman. I love fishing just for fishing. I don't have to catch. If I catch, that's a bonus. I can do the championship. I can hold up the fish too. But I don't have to do that. I just like fishing for fishing. Same thing with boxing. I love boxing for the art of boxing. If it's a knockout, that's a bonus.
Yeah, but you're a purist.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And that's the only sport I watch, guys. That's why they call me Queensberry.
Unfortunately,
I call myself that.
The non-purists want to see the action.
Yeah.
So they
pay-per-view, the armchair fan, they want to see that. Yeah, I get it. But this is a sport. They call it the sweet science.
Yeah, they have to figure out. It's hard for the non-purists to understand the science of boxing, which is to hit and not be hit.
I didn't watch Floyd Mayweather fights to see who would win or lose. I watched Floyd Mayweather fights to watch him box because I knew he was going to win. He's a master.
He's a master.
And
Shakur is the closest thing I've seen to that.
That's why I said he's the best, 1 or 2.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So let's talk about some fights we hope to see by the end of 2021. It looks very likely that we're going to see Canelo Alvarez, Caleb Plant, because Alvarez is on his undisputed tour of 2021. Super middleweight. Looks like we're going to get an Inoue Donaire unification.
That'd be awesome. I'd love to see that.
As long as Donaire wins his next fight and gets the belt.
Donaire has to fight somebody else?
Yes, he's fighting the other belt holder. I forget the gentleman's name at the time.
Okay.
But he's going to try to unify that. Whoever wins that fight
is going to fight.
Inoue. Yeah. Okay. So that should be another great fight.
Good luck to. I would love to see that because that's a great fight.
Do you think we're going to see Crawford Smith? No.
Not this year.
There you go, Jay.
If we don't see it this year, are we ever going to see it?
Could be next year.
Because he said he's going up to 154.
Why not with performances by Jamel like that?
But Jamel's his boy. They train together. They ain't fighting each other.
Well, then who else is there to fight at 154 that's worth watching?
I think he's having a problem making weight. 2 things I think about with Spence. Actually, I think Spence has lost his true love of fighting. I think ever since that accident, he hasn't looked the same in interviews that I've seen him talk. And he definitely didn't look the same in that last fight.
All those guys are mealy mouth. That's what I'm talking about.
So
all those guys, they don't talk like these guys of old.
If we don't get Crawford Spence this winter, whether it be November, December, January, February, I don't think that fight's ever gonna happen.
Wow. And what is Crawford supposed to do?
Crawford might retire.
Just like that?
He's made more. He live in Omaha. The man that made millions of dollars.
That's
he's tired of fighting people that don't interest him. He's getting into that Roy Jones.
He should
syndrome.
go back down and fight Josh Taylor.
I don't know if he can get down to 140 again.
Why not?
Without killing himself.
He's been training for the last however long. That's all he does is train. He can do it. He went up from 140. He can go back.
It's harder going back, especially as you get older.
I understand.
Dropping 7 pounds.
How old is he? He's still in his little.
He's like 33.
Yeah, come on, get down. He's a young guy.
Jermell Charlo against Castellano 2. That's got to happen.
Yes.
The way that fight ended, if that's not the next fight for both of them, shame on PBC.
It was his fault for not selling it by talking about like what he just said. Why wouldn't he just go back? I let this guy get too many rounds. I'm gonna just mop the floor with him next time. Why wouldn't he say something like that? We could run it back. We run it back tomorrow. Let's run it back tomorw.
That's what he should have said.
Let's run it back tomorrow.
I agree.
But that's not what these guys do. And nobody really was caring about it before. And they may care a little bit more now.
I think after seeing the fight, I think they got a chance to build it up. So we'll see.
We'll see. I hear more talking stuff in the pre build up than between the fighters themselves.
I agree.
It's sad, man.
Okay. I would be interested in seeing Tank Davis against Devin Haney.
I would too. Because these guys, they'll never get Ryan Garcia in the ring with him. It'll never happen. And Teofimo is running and hiding.
What's your problem with Teofimo, man?
I mean, well, first of all,
you don't think he won that? You don't think he beat Lomachenko?
Yes, he beat Lomachenko.
Okay.
I mean, it wasn't like a dominating performance, like I'm the best ever. And I don't like how he come out talking about he's undisputed champ. That's ridiculous.
I hate.
I don't like that at all.
I hate
that French fries title.
Oscar Valdez, Shakur Stevenson.
Shout out to New Media. Oscar Valdez, Shakur Stevenson. I told you is the best. I can't see him losing to anybody. If he loses, it's because he calls himself to lose, and I mean, or he gets robbed like he did in the Olympics. He should have been a gold medalist in the Olympics. He got robbed there. So unless they rob him, or he, like you said, he goes for broke and he gets caught with something, no one can outbox him. Like you said, he's the closest thing to a master that we have right now.
Are there any other fights out there that you guys want to see this year or early next year?
I hope Deontay Wilder Tyson Fury happens.
You don't think it's going to happen in October?
He's done it before. Where he can't look how he looked in that press conference, biggest press conference in 2021. Look at how he looked. He was gonna make that thing was gonna be declared. It was gonna postponed anyway. Did you see what he looked like?
Said he was coming in at 300 pounds.
He looked like Stay. I thought I was watching Ghostbusters 1. He looked like Stay Puft the Marshmallow Man.
Professor, your boy Queensbury's out of control. He's out of control.
He was planning to postpone it back then. It's clear to me.
Is there anything I missed, Professor, that fight that you would like to see that hasn't been made yet?
See, man, I've been here with purists, man. I'm not trying to make anybody mad, man. But I actually want to see the Paul brothers fight somebody again, man. You
mean fight a real boxer?
Yeah, I want to see them hit the ring.
Did you watch the Mayweather Paul fight?
Yeah,
I didn't watch it.
I mean, Mayweather. What? Man, he could have knocked that.
I'm because it's an exhibition.
Yeah, right.
So it's not even a real fight. So I'm here to watch. I want to see Floyd Mayweather fight because he's a master, and I love to watch masters do their thing. It doesn't matter if I'm watching Master Mechanic on these TV shows or I like to see masters do their work. You know what I mean?
Right.
But he wasn't given the opportunity to fight in a real boxing with real stakes.
Well, you're gonna get the closest thing that you are looking for. I think in August, he fighting Tyrone Woodley. Woodley, while he's an ex-UFC champ, Tyrone Woodley spent a lot of time training in boxing. He's not a professional boxer. I'm not saying that, not even close. Neither one of these guys are ready to get into a ring with a legit professional boxer. But Tyrone Woodley has the name that he can bring UFC people to the party and make that pay-per-view money. Woodley has already said he's going to make more money on this pay-per-view than he ever made in UFC
altogether.
Right. Yeah, and then
Mayweather made more money in that fight against Paul than Larry Bird and Magic Johnson made in their whole career playing basketball.
Yeah,
he made one fight.
He told him this is legal bank robbing. He was like, if y'all gonna give me this money, I'm gonna take it.
and you know that the whole thing that was staged where Paul grabbed the hat and ran around with it.
Yeah,
I want you guys to watch Austin Powers. I think it was part 2. There's a scene in there where it just happened just like that, where one of the characters Austin plays, Dr. Evil, grabbed the hat off a KKK member and ran around I mean, this is theater. This isn't real. I can't watch this stuff.
I think this Woodley fight actually might be closer to a real deal because they've been talking, unless both of them putting on a show, they've been talking mess ringside at UFC fights for like 6 months because Dana White hates the Paul brothers. So he ignores them because the Paul brothers want him to allow some of his top fighters that are currently under contract to fight him.
Oh.
And they are making it very well known. You can come fight us and make more money in one night than you're making your whole career fighting under
Dana White.
Dana White,
because he's telling the truth. They tell everybody mad because he's telling the truth.
Unless your name is Conor McGregor,
right,
or something like that,
you're gonna make more money.
You're not gonna make money.
Yeah, that's true.
So Dana White.
That's my major problem with the UFC. These guys are fighting. First of all, I don't know who they are, the pedigree and all that. Maybe they're legit fighters, maybe they're not. But my point is that these guys are fighting for peanuts. This is a combat sport. You may not come back.
True.
They deserve the fight the money that they get, and they're not. And then UFC, the stakes are even higher because the combat is even more dangerous, and they're not getting paid.
I don't know about the more dangerous part because they are quicker to stop a UFC bout than they are a boxing bout. They allow the fighters
knockouts.
Oh, you can get knocked the hell out real easy in the UFC, but they are not going to allow you to take continued punishment like you do in a boxing match. So,
especially back in the day, they used to really let you. Yeah. Let you.
But if you get the one hitter quitter, oh yeah, you can get knocked cold out.
But look at the Warrington Lara fight, the part 1. He shouldn't have been allowed to continue.
Exactly.
So this still's going on in boxing too.
Yeah, and you don't have anything like that in the UFC.
No, okay.
They stop it.
They stop it quick.
Okay. All right. Well, it's about time for us to get out of here. So,
this is amazing. I had a great time.
Any parting shots you'd like to hit us with? Why don't you start us off, Queensberry?
Thank you guys for inviting me and taking my suggestion of doing the boxing. And I'll be happy to come back. You said twice a year. That's awesome. I love it.
We have to modify that because you guys are smoking.
Lots to talk about, man. I mean, we can get into some history. I definitely have some. We could have more content, but I had an awesome time. Thank you, man, for inviting me.
My
Appreciate
pleasure.
you. It's good
My
to be
pleasure.
back in the space. You guys, you know, who are like on the edge of whether you like boxing, not like boxing, get out of old media. Old media is tearing boxing apart. We got to get into new media. Look on YouTube. There's a lot of great content about boxing and what's really happening behind the scenes on YouTube. I watch a lot of that. I'll of course watch the fights themselves. Like George said, turn off the commentators. These guys are just not telling the truth. You're watching something and you're hearing what they say and taking what they say as to what you're seeing. It's not the case. Turn off the volume and really get into this sport that I love so much.
Before we let you get out of here, I do got to ask you one boxing question. I know you say you don't watch a lot of other sports.
Yes.
But I know you're aware of things.
Sure.
Do you think Milwaukee ends it tomorrow night, or do we think we get a Game 7?
Game 7.
Okay. Okay. Professor J, any parting shots, partner?
Absolutely. I just want to give this up to boxing.
Oh, here we go. Here we go.
UFC is going to continue to take over. And I like you, boxing. So I want you to really get yourselves together, get all these voters out the way, and raise the bar and give us the fights that we want to see. But in all seriousness, this is also for the Olympics too. Because as days go by and we get closer to the games, more and more of our top athletes are just going back home in protocol. So I hope we see some great sports coming up, and go Bucks in 6.
Okay. I just like to say again, boxing is of the combat sports my true passion. I grew up watching boxing as a young kid, watching some of the young greats. I remember when Ray Leonard was knocking out people and people were going to the Capitol Center to watch the fight being beamed in to the Cap Center because you couldn't watch it on TV,
right.
And there were no replays.
Yeah,
so if you wanted to see the fight, you either had to go to the fight or go to these special venues that were showing the fight. So that's how far I go back.
That's the golden era.
So I agree with you both that boxing is on a precipice. It can go either way. Boxing has a chance if PBC, Top Rank, and Matchroom Boxing get together and decide that they're going to work together for the betterment of boxing and put the fights together we want to see. They'll be great. Your boy Oscar De La Hoya's got some problems. Ever since he lost Canelo, Golden Boy Boxing has been struggling a little bit. He's got some lower weight fighters that he's trying to push, but De La Hoya is struggling. So I'm not sure how long Golden Boy is going to last. But those big three, they got to work together to give us the fights we want to see. If
you
not,
Matchroom,
PDC, Top Rank.
I think it's up to the fighters. The guys got to take a page out of Ryan Garcia's book and build up your following and start young. And for the next generation, boxing's not going anywhere. It may take it's been taking a shellacking. My man is playing Death March music to it. But look, I'm gonna tell you this: boxing's not going anywhere. It's been here. It's gonna continue to be here. I just hope that that the next generation of boxers do something like Ryan Garcia is doing.
Yeah, because we need some charisma.
We need some charisma.
If you're not gonna market yourself,
yes,
then you need to be on social media doing something. Yeah. Because if you just think your talent is gonna get you there, you're sadly mistaken.
Nope.
You will end up, unfortunately, like Terrence Crawford, one of the best to do it, and nobody even cared.
That's a shame.
There's a tree falling in the forest with nobody around here. Did it make a sound? Did it make a sound? Who cares?
Who cares? That's the sad part about it. And unfortunately, boxing doesn't want to get to that point where it's who cares?
Yep.
Yeah, Ed going to get on that one tomorrow.
All right. We appreciate y'all for tuning in to this special edition of Post, our boxing mid-year review. And again, we will definitely be back for the year-end review. And who knows, if the Tyson Fury fight goes on, maybe we have to do another special edition before the fight.
All right.
So we have to check it out. Check it out. But we'd like to thank you all for tuning in and listening. We know you got other things you can do. Again, we're going to be here tomorrow night for our regular show, talking all other types of sports, tomorrow at 7 p.m. But again, thank you for tuning into this boxing special. If you hadn't gotten a chance to listen to us live, please podcast. You can do it. Professor, help me out. What are the major podcast platforms? I know Apple Podcasts.
We got Lord have mercy. We got Apple. We got Google. We got dang, now I went blank. All of them.
I'm sorry.
All of them. Anchor is another one. Spotify.
Anchor.
Yeah, all of them. Man, just look us up. Positions on Sports. We there. Hit us up on Twitter.
And if you have any input that you'd like to send to us, you can hit us up on Facebook, Positions on Sports Talk Show. You can hit us up on Instagram, Positions on SPO1. We'd love to hear from you. If you have suggestions that we can make the show better, please let us know, because that's the only way we're going to continue to grow. But as you see, we just a bunch of fans that love sports. And with my man, Queensberry Tony, we love the sweet science. And we bring in Professor Jay along. I know he's more on the UFC side, but I'm pulling him in slowly but surely. And who knows, we might get our boy Too Tall back in here next time to talk.
All right.
Another sweet science fan. Thanks again. Everybody have a safe evening tonight. We look forward to seeing you tomorrow, Tuesday, 7 p.m. for our normal show. Be safe, and we'll see you tomorrow evening. Peace.
God bless.